It is so great to be back, and we have a great show lined up for you today. We will be talking about something found in vitamins that I get so many questions about. It is a fake ingredient, so we will be discussing that and what to look out for on your labels. We'll also talk about tips for trigeminal neuralgia. So if you know what that's all about, I had questions coming in about that. So I'm going to go through some of those tips, as well as for osteopenia and for your bone density. How do we make our bones strong? We will be talking about that. Also talking about our thyroid today with Hashimoto's and some of the best foods to be eating if you have that condition for your thyroid. That's going to apply to autoimmune disorders as well. And symptoms of a vitamin K2 deficiency. This is really important because a lot of people have these signs and symptoms of being low in vitamin K2 and you didn't know that it was related to your vitamin K2 status. So welcome on in. Please say hello and where you're watching from today. It's so great to have you here at Taniconda, Toluca, people. Thank you for tuning in today. Sophia as well, buenos dias. Nice to have you here. Hey, it is great to have you here, hopefully on a nice sunny day where you're from. Nikki, hello. Nice to have you here. M. Ebbs, thank you from North Carolina. Great to have you here. Hey, hit that share button if you could. I truly appreciate it when you share. And if you're new here, make sure that you are following, that you are subscribed. This is the Dr. Janine Show. So if it is your first time watching, we do this every couple of weeks. It's a live show all about natural healing and what you can do to help your own body and of course your loved ones as well. And you just want to spread the good news about natural healing, you have come to the right place. All right, Shamala, hello. Belinda as well in Denmark. Rebecca, Roberta, Samina, Dolores, hello. Thanks for tuning in. And Kathy, good morning. I had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you so much. Yes, here in Canada, we just celebrated our Thanksgiving weekend and it was a great one. We had a lot of fun. Reem Berry, hello in Pakistan. Nice to have you here. Thank you, Susan, as well. And in Niagara Falls, Barb, osteopenia. Okay, so this is something that you're going to definitely want to screenshot my lists when we talk about some of the tips for the things that we're talking about today, as well as Guadalupe. Hello, Green Garaza. Did I say that right? Renee, Liz Fox in Texas. Hello, Kafui George. And it is great to have you here from Accra in Ghana. Thank you for tuning in today, as well as Apple user. Thank you for tuning in. Nikki Carr, hello, hello. And let's get started. All right, so if you missed last week's show, we did talk about folic acid versus folate, and there's a big difference there, as well as tips for blurry eyes, especially if you're on your screens a lot. That's something that we really did talk about. And we focused in on autoimmune tips as well, tips for our nerve health and nutrient deficiencies that can cause dark circles under the eyes. Now, we will be having quiz questions throughout today's show. So just so that you know, this is an interactive show, so you have to pay attention just a little bit. And we're playing for the Vitatree Magnesium today. Our great sponsors, Vitatree Nutritionals of the Dr. Janine Show. So happy to have you all here. Shall we get started? All right, so let's first talk about this ingredient that is commonly found in a lot of vitamins. And you've heard me talk about magnesium stearate. But there's something called vegetable stearic acid, and I get a lot of questions. Okay, is that better than magnesium stearate, which of course, remember, is a flow agent, never been tested to be safe for long-term human consumption, can cause acid reflux and stomach aches and nausea for people that are sensitive to it. And remember, it coats, it goes on top of the raw materials, your vitamins, your minerals, your herbal medicines, and makes them less absorbable. So you're not always getting the full potential of your vitamins and supplements that you're taking that have magnesium stearate. Now, the thing about magnesium stearate is this is actually derived from animal fats, whereas vegetable stearic acid, so this is what I want you to look for. Yes, of course, if you find magnesium stearate, but also vegetable stearic acid, if that is found in your supplements, that's made, instead of from animal fats like magnesium stearate, it's made from vegetable fats. So here's the thing. From the material data safety sheet, if you look this up in terms of vegetable stearic acid, in terms of toxicity, well, they haven't done the research. So for bioaccumulation, it says no information available. For germ cell mutagenicity, no information available. And reproductive toxicity, no information available. So what that's telling me and telling you is that it's not been tested. So how do they know if it's safe or not? And yet you're ingesting it in your vitamins. It is a chemical, whether it's vegetable-based, vegetable stearic acid, or it's magnesium stearate or magnesium stearic acid. It's a chemical. So I just want you to be aware of that. If this is an aha moment for you, just put like the mind blown or put a 1 in the comments, because yeah, I really want you to really start checking your vitamin labels. You do not want to be taking supplements that have, of course, a lot of these fillers and flow agents, and the stearates is definitely one of them. It is chemical and a chemical-based ingredient. All right, so we are going to talk about foods to avoid if you have Hashimoto's. So in terms of autoimmune thyroid condition with low thyroid. But first, let's talk a little bit about trigeminal neuralgia. I had a lot of questions about trigeminal neuralgia. And here, if we look at, if you don't know what this is about, of course, the trigeminal nerve is in this region, so in the head, and it innervates, and it's called trigeminal because it innervates 3 different places. So the eye area, the maxillary area, and the mandible area. So with this neuralgia, it can be caused by a blood vessel. Usually this is the main cause, that a blood vessel is sort of impinging on the actual nerve. And then now you have, you know, whether it is sort of pain or loss of sensation types of symptoms with this condition. But more importantly, I want to talk about what we can do about this. And I've got 5 tips for trigeminal neuralgia. Okay, let's go through them. So tip number 1 is going to be to follow Mother Nature's prescription. Okay, what is this? This is, of course, getting grounded, getting natural sunlight exposure. It's a big topic in my latest book, In the Lost Medicine, Rediscovering Mother Nature's Prescription. That is the subtitle of the book. So what is this? This is all about reconnecting with our natural environment, which is very anti-inflammatory. And this is going to be really important for any type of nerve condition. So whether it's trigeminal neuralgia, any other type of nerve condition that you may have, that could even be sciatica, we need to reconnect, grounding, sunlight exposure, getting outside more often, getting out of the artificial environments that we put ourselves in all day and all night. We've got to get outside. Okay, so that's number 1. You'll learn so much more in my book. Tip number 2 is doing acupuncture. This is one of the most effective treatments in natural medicine for trigeminal neuralgia. So if you have this, it's a chronic thing for you, and nerve conditions in general, try some acupuncture and go to somebody who really knows what they're doing in terms of acupuncture, but it is super effective. Number 3 is trying some red light therapy. Okay, so red light therapy at a specific frequency and wavelength has actually been studied for trigeminal neuralgia, 660 to 850 nanometers of red and near infrared light. So at that wavelength, and in this study it was found that low level laser therapy reduces the pain in trigeminal neuralgia. So that's something that you can look up. And yeah, I love the fact that, yeah, if you don't have access to laser therapy, what can you do? You go outside in the sun. And you're going to get the red and the near infrared, especially first thing in the morning as the sun is rising, and especially as the sun is setting as well. It's a great time to be outdoors, especially if, you know, that sun is out. Even if it's not out, you still get the balanced energy of those frequencies of the red and near infrared light, which is very healing. And so that is something that you definitely want to do. And let's say you have your neuralgia on this side of the face, well, face that side of, you know, your body, your face to the sun at those times. And it is remarkable. But also if you can get a red light, that would be great as well. Okay, number 4 is eating a high omega-3 diet. Why? Well, this is going to help to make sure that the outer coating of our myelin on our nerves is healthy. And that's what helps to send that electrical signaling through our body. You need to have more of those omega-3s. Where do we get our omega-3s? Of course, from a natural seafood-rich diet. So that's going to be important. All right, and some people do supplement, of course, with a high-quality DHA supplement. That's usually the one that I recommend. That's higher in the DHA. A little bit of EPA is good as well in a fish oil supplement. And number 5, magnesium bisglycinate. So this is important. A lot of people have a magnesium deficiency and other minerals as well, but magnesium bisglycinate is a natural muscle relaxant, so can really help with any type of pain and inflammatory response that's happening, and can be really, really helpful for trigeminal neuralgia. All right, so I hope you take a quick screenshot of that list, and we will move on. And we are at quiz question number 1 time. Okay, is everybody ready? So if you're new here, please say hello. Elaine, hello. Thank you for tuning in today and watching live. It's great to have you here. And thank you for everybody who is tuning in. Sam, hello. Thank you for the follow. Jayanta, thank you so much for sharing today's live. It's great to have you here. And Kay, you want to see the list really quickly again? Okay, we'll show you that list on the trigeminal neuralgia, my 5 tips. We are moving on to our quiz questions, so you can take a look at that, Kay. And we are playing for the magnesium from VitaTree Nutritionals today. Our first quiz question, is everybody ready? VitaTree, of course, being the sponsor of the show. Hello, Zaffi in Boston. Great to have you here. Dawn in Cypress, Texas. Great to have you here again. Lavender, good morning. Thank you for tuning in from Canada. Great, great, great. Michael as well. Migdalia, thank you. Nice to have you here. All right, everybody ready? All right, you're going to have 30 seconds on the clock. Here we go with our first quiz question. All right. True or false? Vegetable stearic acid is a safer form of magnesium stearate. All right, you've got 30 seconds on the clock. Get your answers in. Okay, this one's fairly simple, I think. How's everybody doing? I think we're doing pretty well. All right. About 7 seconds left. Ooh, this is tricky for some people. Maybe you're just turning in now, so it's okay. Everybody's got their answers in? All right. The answer is, for those of you who got it incorrect, the answer is false, all right? So if you just are tuning in now, we talked about the fact that magnesium stearate and vegetable stearic acid, basically they're the same chemical. Either it's derived from animal fats or it's derived from a vegetable fat, and they are chemicals, all right, and added to a lot of vitamins, most of the vitamins out there, and can have some potential toxicity concerns, as well as decreasing the absorption of anything that they go on top of. All right, let's continue. We are moving on to our next section that we're talking about. And today, thanks for tuning in. To everybody who has tuned in for the first time as well, make sure you hit that share button and that you are following, that you are subscribed. Oh, I do want to announce our last time's winner of our vitamin D3 chewables. It was Heather Stewie, 99. Congratulations, Heather Stewie. You did so well in answering questions. And hey, anybody who just participates in the quiz questions, that you will potentially be randomly selected as our winner. So make sure that you still are putting your name down, of course, with your answers for our following quiz questions that will be coming up in this show, and you might be our lucky winner of the VitaTree Magnesium, and that's what we're playing for this week. All right, congratulations, Heather, good job. All right, so let's continue. We will be talking about the best foods for Hashimoto's. We've got 10 of them, but first, let's talk about some of the foods we should be avoiding for Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Where's my thyroid? Well, I know where my thyroid is, but where's the other thyroid? I'm going to show you this. So if you don't know, Hashimoto's is, thank you, an autoimmune condition that your body starts to attack your thyroid gland. But there are some foods that could be more compromising for any type of autoimmune condition, and some foods that could be much better. So let's first go through my list of the foods. So the 6 foods to avoid with Hashimoto's. Okay, number 6 on the list. And try to guess what number 1 is. Anybody who knows about these things, you might know what number 1 is, but let's go and start with number 6 first. So number 6 on the list is refined oils. as we know. So whether that's the canola, the vegetable oils, we know that if they're highly refined, they could be very pro-inflammatory. So that's not something that we want when we have an autoimmune condition. Okay, number 5 on the list is caffeine. So too much caffeine is going to dehydrate you. That's not a good thing in terms of, drinking your coffee, too much tea, supplements, that may have caffeine to give you energy and things like this, or the drinks in a can type of thing, caffeinated beverages, not the best thing for Hashimoto's. Okay, number 4 on the list is refined sugars. Of course, very pro-inflammatory, not great for autoimmunity, not great for leaky gut, which can be related to, of course, Hashimoto's as well. So you want to avoid the refined sugar if you have Hashimoto's. Not to mention you're going to be gaining weight potentially when your thyroid is not functioning as well as it should. The refined sugar is not going to help that situation. Okay, number 3 on the list is packaged foods. Again, anything that is packaged usually has added chemicals to help with shelf life, and that can really contribute to leaky gut, which we know is related back to the Hashimoto's. All right, number 2 on my list is dairy products. So for a lot of people who have chronic autoimmunity, and I'm talking about mainstream dairy and the casein can make autoimmunity worse. So that component of milk is sometimes higher in some milks compared to others. So that's where you have to be a little bit careful, especially if you have Hashimoto's. Okay, did anybody guess what number 1 is on my list? All right, number 1 on the list, food to avoid with Hashimoto's and probably most autoimmunity is going to be gluten. Yes. So there is a direct link, and this has actually been studied now, a direct link with Hashimoto's and gluten sensitivity, tying back, I would say, to the leaky gut, something to avoid. So if you want to screenshot this list really quickly, we'll show it to you. Everybody knows everything that has gluten, it's all the good stuff, right? And that's something that we want to avoid. But if you want to take a quick screenshot of that so that you've got it, we will move on next. And talking about, of course, I want to share our viewer spotlight. So each time that we come live at the Dr. Janine show, yes, Tony Jacobs, you got that correct. So good job. Bug, Caddy, yes, Dawn, yeah, you were close with our 1, 2, and 3. Kathy, you got it right with the gluten, absolutely, and I'm so happy that you know all of these things with autoimmunity, and the gluten is usually a big issue. Okay, Therese, how do you know if you have Hashimoto's? Yeah, usually this is something that you're tested for in your blood work if you've got the symptoms of low thyroid, but also if you have the antibodies to your thyroid gland, it's something that they can check in your blood work for Hashimoto's, and if that's positive and the numbers are high, then usually that's when the diagnosis is made for that type of thyroid condition. All right, so this is our viewer spotlight, and this is from Health Facts Explained, and they said this video is truly concise and useful. Dr. Janine clearly and understandably presented the essential foods we should be eating daily. I particularly appreciate the specific explanation of each types of benefits, and the information is delivered quickly. Yes, I try to talk quick in my videos, yet thoroughly making it easier for viewers to incorporate their diets for better health. So thank you so much to you, and continue to share all the good news, and maybe you will be chosen as our viewer spotlight. All right, now let's talk about osteopenia. So we're talking about bone density here. I know somebody who's watching wants to know about the tips. We're going to go through my 6 tips for osteopenia and maintaining that good bone density, which is so important, especially as we're aging. For women, but for the guys as well, we have to maintain that bone density. All right, so let's go through now my 6 tips for osteopenia. Okay, tip number 1, grounding, something that I talk about in my latest book, taking off your socks and shoes, or wearing grounded shoes that you can actually maintain that connectivity with the earth on which you're walking. That brings up Earth's electrons, which is very anti-inflammatory, and that's why it is my tip number 1. Okay, here's my book, The Lost Medicine. So this is one of the chapters in my book all about grounding. Okay, tip number 2 for osteopenia is jumping. So putting those compressive forces by jumping, and either right on the earth as well as when you're going upstairs, you can stomp a little bit. That's kind of a form of jumping that's going to put those stresses on the actual bones so that they go into the remodeling phase. This is really important. That's one of the reasons why exercise is so important for osteopenia. So jumping, that could be on a trampoline, a rebounder as well. Some type of jumping is going to be really, really helpful for that bone density. Okay, tip number 3 is, of course, getting enough sunlight. So yes, for our vitamin D, that's going to help with our healthy bones and maintaining, getting that calcium into the bones where it needs to go. But our other hormones becomes important as well. Leptin becomes important. And if we're not getting enough sunlight exposure, then what happens is that we can develop leptin resistance. And this is where something called osteocalcin, which has a lot to do with our bone density, and I don't know if we have the slide really quickly, on osteocalcin, this can be a problem because leptin resistance is going to block that osteocalcin. Thank you. So osteocalcin for bone density, along with a whole other host of things. So whether it's pancreatic health, our fat mass, so that we start to gain weight, because remember, this is blocked now when we have leptin resistance. That's why we need the sunlight exposure. Then we're going to be gaining weight. So all of these arrows would be reversed. Our insulin sensitivity would decrease in our muscle. Our neurotransmitters in our brain decreases. Our testosterone decreases. The fat goes up. And of course, that insulin secretion synthesis would be suppressed. Not a good thing, that leptin resistance. This is one of the reasons why I always say the leptin resistance happens before the insulin resistance, something that you've heard me talk about in other videos. That's why we need that sunlight exposure for our bone density, all right? Poor bone density is a great indicator of leptin resistance. Another chapter in my book, In the Lost Medicine, all right? So I hope you're putting these things together as you are learning from me. Thank you for tuning in today. Let's continue. All right, number 4 on my list, of course, is vitamin K2. This is something that we will be going into more detail today, so stick around for that. As well as, because vitamin K2, what it does is it tells that calcium where to go, making sure that it's going into the bones, and that's where we need the vitamin K2 to optimize our bone density. Number 5 is magnesium. Again, it's going to help to direct that calcium into the bones. It works hand in hand with calcium and our other minerals. So ensuring that we get enough magnesium, really important. I've got a ton of other content on which magnesium type to take and my preferred type of magnesium. All right, and number 6, of course, is a whole food calcium. So making sure that you're actually, if you are taking a calcium supplement, that it's properly absorbed in a whole food form. I like a coral calcium, that's my favorite type to take. That really goes into the bones really well. I like my magnesium and D3 in the morning if you're supplementing with D3, and your calcium and your K2 closer to bedtime. And that really ensures that proper bone density. And I've been able to help hundreds and hundreds of women, especially with this protocol in terms of helping with bone density and osteopenia. So there you've got the list. I hope you love that. And thanks for tuning in today. It's so great to have you here. We will be moving on to quiz question number 2 in just a second. And it's great to have K-Short here. Thank you for tuning in. David, hello. Thank you for tuning in. Julia, Bogcat, yes, great to have you here. EM5, hello. Lavender, thank you for participating in the quiz questions. We are at quiz question number 2 now. And Brad, oh, thank you for the compliment. That's fantastic. I'm glad to educate people. All right, are we ready? This is your chance now to shine, everyone. We are playing for the Vitatree Magnesium from our great sponsors, our friends at Vitatree Nutritionals. Is everybody ready for our second quiz question? Just do your best. Even if you're just tuning in right now, just put your answer into the comment section and try your best. All right, here we go. Quiz question number 2. Name a food that should be avoided with Hashimoto's. All right, it's something that we just talked about. If you're just tuning in right now, try to put your answers in. You can put in more than one answer. Thank you. Okay, about 13 seconds left, everyone. How are we doing? Try to get in as many answers as you can. Good job. Yes. Okay, I like this. Everybody got like the number 1 and 2 and 3. So this is fantastic. Good job. All right, everybody got their answers in? Okay, so we talked about with Hashimoto's, which is low thyroid autoimmune condition, some of the foods that probably aren't the best. Let's go through the list really quickly. The number one, of course, was gluten. And a lot of people had dairy as their answers as well. I'm talking about conventional dairy. I mean, if you can get raw milk from a cow, from a farmer, then that's not the same story here, but most of the dairy that I think we consume is conventional dairy. Grass-fed will definitely be better, but everybody's got different tolerance levels for dairy, especially if you've got gut conditions with that casein. Packaged foods, refined foods, caffeine, refined oils. Great job, everyone. And I think a few, like green ragazza, you got in a few of the answers. Amazing. Good job. This is how I think we learn best, right? Does everybody give me a thumbs up or put a 2 in the comments if you love quiz questions? I just think it's a fun way to learn, right? So it's not just me talking about the information. It's a fun way for you to retain some of this great information. Hopefully you'll share it with people as well. So please hit that share button. It's great to have you here today. And let's continue now. We will continue with some of the foods that are great for your bone density. All right, so we just talked about osteopenia and some of my tips, but what are the 5 best foods for your bones? If you can guess what some of these are, continue to put them in the comment section. We'll make this very interactive today, and I see all the thumbs up. All right, everybody likes to learn this way in the number 2s. Thank you for contributing. All right, so we're gonna go through now the 5 best foods for bones. Number 1, collard greens. As well as other greens, of course, naturally has that calcium, but some of the other supporting minerals as well. So this would include kale, bok choy, turnip greens as well, high in that calcium, magnesium, vitamin K, which can also help with some of that bone strength and depositing that calcium where it needs to go into the bones. Okay, number 2 on my list is canned sardines. So with the sardines, it's great with the bones, if you can do it, all right? And putting a little bit of hot sauce on this, if you like hot and spicy, that might be a way that it's more palatable just to eat it right out of the can. So yeah, canned sardines with the bones is another great food for your bones and for osteopenia, osteoporosis, as well as having some vitamin D and phosphorus, great for bone building. Okay, number 3 on my list is almonds, all right? And almond butter would be great. So if you don't have a nut sensitivity, another great food for your bones, provides calcium and of course magnesium. And these are key minerals, of course, for that bone density. Okay, number 4 on my list is bone broth. So it has collagen, which is great for your bone density, as well as minerals like calcium, magnesium, and helps to support that healthy bone matrix. And number 5 on the list are eggs. Now, eggs are great, have vitamin D, a little bit of vitamin K2, and this becomes very important with your omegas as well. Eating the yolk, so eating the whole egg becomes important. Those omegas help with that bone density as well, and helps with that proper calcium absorption into the bones for your bone density. So some of my favorite foods, of course, for osteopenia, for strong bones. There you go. Now you can screenshot that list. And thanks for tuning in today. Like I said earlier, it's so great to have you all here. And yeah, okay, so people are talking about almonds have some oxalates. You can soak them first, and that's going to help to, or roast them in terms of almonds. And I'm talking about like 5 almonds a day and having an egg, like not just eating one food. Of course, it's eating a few of these foods throughout the day so that you're getting. And that's why, you know, for a lot of people who have food sensitivities and things, that disconnection with your environment may be an issue. So that, and eating foods in season. And that's one of the reasons why I personally supplement with a coral calcium supplement, just to make sure that I'm getting enough, because I don't think that even what I think is my healthy diet, I still think that because of mineral depletion in our foods these days, that we simply don't get the same mineral density that I would have, you know, when I was a kid, for instance. So this is where I use whole food supplements just to kind of supplement my already healthy diet. All right, if that makes sense to you. Okay, so, and that's what supplements are designed for, is to supplement hopefully what you're already doing that's healthy. Now, not everybody is healthy, so this is where supplements can even have more of a beneficial effect until you can kind of get yourself on track and start to eat and live a healthier lifestyle, if that makes sense. All right, so we're going to talk about how vitamin K2 affects your body. We're going to talk about deficiency symptoms, but let's talk about some better foods for that thyroid. So again, when we're talking about Hashimoto, so low thyroid because of autoimmunity, these foods would apply to even just regular hypothyroidism, and maybe it's not even autoimmune, but these foods are great for your thyroid. Let's go through the 10 best foods for Hashimoto's. All right, this would be great for autoimmune conditions as well. Okay, number 10 on my list, fermented foods. So things like sauerkraut, kimchi, coconut kefir, kefir in general, helps to support your healthy gut microbiome and is great for digestion, but also is great for regulating your immunity. Remember, having that healthy microbiome, something that we've talked about before, is really, really key, especially if you have leaky gut, which is often correlated, of course, with autoimmune disorders and Hashimoto's. We've got to fix that gut. So that's number 10 on my list, eating a little bit of fermented foods. All right, really, really good. I would put your kombucha in here as well, just making sure that it's a good quality kombucha. All right, number 9 on the list is coconut oil or MCT oil, and this is going to give quick energy for metabolism and also has antiviral components to it and can really heal the gut. So a little bit of coconut oil or MCT oil can be really, really helpful with Hashimoto's. All right, number 8 on the list is avocados. Now, avocados are loaded with healthy fats, as we know, magnesium, potassium, fiber, which is fantastic, and helps with balancing our hormones and is very anti-inflammatory. So a little bit of avocado, remember, in season, and if it grows locally to you, ideally this is going to be when you're eating your avocado. Okay, number 7 on my list is sweet potatoes. And sweet potatoes are loaded with beta carotene, which is amazing, and that's fantastic for, of course, being able to make sure that we are feeding our cells with that beta carotene, which is a powerful antioxidant, great for our retinal cells, great for our thyroid as well, and is, you know, super, super slow burning carb compared to other carbohydrates, and that's going to help to support our blood sugar balance, which becomes important as well, as we know, with our insulin and if we've got the leptin problem. So here's, again, another tie-in that I want you to think about. With the leptin resistance happening first, then we have that osteocalcin problem. Now with that, we are going to have issues with regulating our blood glucose levels. So our diet is secondary to the fact that we have to fix the leptin resistance when we've got a chronic thyroid issue. So the sweet potatoes are a little bit easier on your system because they're not spiking your blood glucose as much. All right, so see how this all kind of ties together. Number 6 is Brazil nuts. All right, so one of the richest sources of selenium, some people say selenium, which is an important nutrient that your thyroid requires that selenium to run optimally and really helps to regulate your immune system as well. So 2 to 3 Brazil nuts per day is all you need to get your daily selenium. All right, number 5 on the list, again, is bone broth. So again, has the collagen, which is so supporting, helps to heal the gut, which we know is a factor with Hashimoto's and autoimmune conditions in general. All right, number 4, if you tolerate eggs well, then pasture-raised eggs are amazing. So they have a little bit of selenium, as well as iodine, vitamin D, B12, choline, all important for your thyroid health and for your brain and cognition health as well. So finding some pasture-raised eggs are amazing for Hashimoto's. Okay, number 3 on my list is, can anybody guess what number 1 is? Try to put number 1 in the list as we go on. Of course, our best foods for Hashimoto's is what we're talking about here. All right, number 3, cruciferous veggies. And okay, if you're looking at me and you're like, no, my doctor said I cannot have, you know, the broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, the cruciferous vegetables. Well, if you cook them, then any type of goitrogenic effect that is slowing down your thyroid is eliminated. So just gently steaming these, you're going to be fine, okay? Now they support your liver health, which is so important, your hormone metabolism, and your gut health as well, and feeds those good bacteria, your probiotics in your gut. So we need to have some of those healthy cruciferous vegetables with indole-3 carbanols, which are really important antioxidants for our good health and for our thyroid health. So yes, you can eat them, just steam them. Okay, number 2, leafy greens. So yes, spinach, arugula, romaine, Swiss chard, high in magnesium, our B vitamins and antioxidants, great for energy and detoxification, but also great for our immune function. So great for our thyroid health. All right, did anybody guess what number 1 is? Oh, Tony Jacobs, I like that answer. Very good. Yay, yay, yay. Anybody else have it? Yeah, Tara, like that answer as well. Steve's got jokes. Yep, that's funny. Okay, anybody else? Number 1, a lot of you were close. Yes, and Tony Jacobs, that's a good one as well. All right, number 1 on the list is, of course, wild caught fish. So sardines, mackerel, high in your omega-3s, really, really important for your proper thyroid health. And they have iodine. So things from the sea have iodine. It is an essential nutrient for your thyroid, especially when it's underperforming. We need to have some of that natural whole food iodine. I would put seaweed in here as well. Yes, thank you, Kathy. You've got it. Iodine seaweed. I try to eat seaweed. I don't have it every day, but a few times a week I do eat seaweed. Great for your thyroid health. All right, there's our 10 best foods for Hashimoto's, for low thyroid. Please check it out and screenshot that if you want to keep that list really quickly. You can share this with your friends as well. Thank you for sharing today's live. And thanks to all my new people. Xanthi, thank you for following today. And if you haven't yet hit that follow, that subscribe button, please do that. I'm Dr. Janine. Welcome on in. This is the Dr. Janine Show, and we are live right now. And we do this every couple of weeks, information all about your natural healing. I appreciate all the love and all the hearts that come in and all the donations and things as I am here. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Vicious Trollop, thank you for tuning in and for contributing with your answers. Amazing, amazing. It's so great to have you here. I know there's like jokes happening on one of everybody's communicating with each other. I love it when that happens. What a great sense of community and a great way to start our week off after here in Canada. Anyways, we just had our Thanksgiving weekend. So thank you for everyone tuning in, coming back into reality this week and maybe back to work, back to school for everybody as well. We have so much fun here on Tuesdays. All right, let's continue with some symptoms of vitamin K2 deficiency. We're gonna go over here to my board and really go through some of these. So with vitamin K deficiency, we know that one of the things we talked about last week is you can have dark circles under your eyes. We will look at that, but you can also have a whole host of other symptoms happening when you're low in vitamin K2. And a lot of us do have a vitamin K2 deficiency. We simply don't get enough in our diet. And let's go and review all the symptoms of a vitamin K2 deficiency. All right, starting up here, dark circles under the eyes related to low vitamin K2. Cavities. So remember, vitamin K2 is going to tell our calcium where to go in the body. So this is important that it's depositing into our teeth, into our bones. And that's why cavities, when you're low in K2, can be one of the symptoms of a K2 deficiency. Insulin issues, high blood sugar. So your high blood glucose levels because of a vitamin K2 deficiency. Joint pain and low bone density, low vitamin K2. Memory loss as well with low vitamin K2. Chest pains, blocked arteries, palpitations. Weight gain as well when you're K2 deficient. And easy bruising. Now remember, K2 also does affect some of our blood clotting. So that can be, and it's more vitamin K1, but K2 has a minor effect for blood clotting. So that could be another symptom of a K2 deficiency. So there you have it if you want to screenshot that really quickly. Super helpful because it's more than just having, the bone density issues. It could be related to other things. I would also add in here in terms of blocked arteries, so calcium deposition in the arteries. So if that's been diagnosed for you, as well as kidney stones would be on the list as well with low vitamin K2. All right, so there we go. All right, we are at quiz question number 3 time. Is everybody ready? We are playing for our VitaTree Magnesium. Today, of course, our sponsors, VitaTree Nutritionals, Whole Food Vitamins. We thank them for sponsoring the show. And this is quiz question number 3. Is everybody ready? All right, here we go. With our third quiz question for the show. Name a symptom of vitamin K2 deficiency. All right, you've got 30 seconds up on the clock. You put in more than one if you know the answer. Good luck, everyone. everyone. Good job, everyone. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. This is good. Some multiple answers are coming in as well, which I love. And we just reviewed this, the symptoms of vitamin K2 deficiency, if you're just tuning in. All right, let's look at them really quickly. All right, so if you're low in vitamin K2, you could have joint pain, low bone density, easy bruising, dark under eye circles, weight gain, cavities, chest pains, blocked arteries, palpitations, memory loss, all related to low vitamin K2, as well as kidney stones and calcium in the arteries. I would add to that list. And just being miserable, let's just put that there too. Yeah, so we have to optimize our vitamin K2 levels, and that's something that I actually supplement at closer to bedtime with my whole food calcium. That's something that I personally take. But those are questions if you wanted to tune in tomorrow. So of course on Wednesdays, following up our Tuesdays show, we have the Q&A, so tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. It's a little bit later in the day, so 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join me tomorrow. I didn't get to everybody's questions in the live show today, so I apologize for that. But it's definitely something that I want to be able to answer your questions. Now, the other fun thing that's happening is that we go shopping. So if you missed our last live shopping, and that was with VitaTree, and I educated a lot about vitamins. We do that once a month now. It's very new. We have deal days, and that's me and VitaTree.com, and we go shopping live, and there's amazing opportunities for you in terms of purchasing VitaTree products. So that happens once a month. It will usually be the first Thursday of every month, all right? And we'll make announcements, so make sure that you are following me, so you get those announcements, and it will be on my stories and things, and follow VitaTree as well, so that you are up on, when we have the deals. And of course, go to their website, VitaTree.com, and then you'll be able to see when the live shopping goes live, because it was crazy. I'm telling you, we did it sort of like the pre-launch, but last week was the first official show. It was crazy, crazy. And a lot of people were very thankful and communicated with us for having, such great deep discounts on the VitaTree products. So thank you to everyone who tuned in. And if you missed it, make sure you're marking your calendar for the next first Thursday of the month. I think it's in a few weeks. We'll announce it maybe tomorrow. I'll be able to give you the specific date. All right. Well, thank you for everybody who's tuned in. So far, we've talked about vegetable stearic acid, how you definitely want to be avoiding that in your vitamins, tips for trigeminal neuralgia. We also talked about bone density today and tips for osteopenia. We also talked about thyroid health and Hashimoto's, and the symptoms of a vitamin K2 deficiency. And, it's something that it's so important that we address things from, the inside out and doing things naturally. And that's, of course, what I aim to do. Thank you for everybody who tuned in today. Hey, if you're new here, make sure you are subscribed, that you are following. And if you didn't get your question answered today, please join me again live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our next Dr. Janine show is going to be Tuesday, October the 28th. And I have a long form video that's dropping later today, so please check that out as well. And if you haven't yet, seen my book or purchased my book, and I want some feedback on my book as well, so make sure tomorrow for the Q&A, we'll talk a bit about my book. I want to hear what you've learned from my book, The Lost Medicine. So I'll see you all then. All right, have a great day, everyone, and get outside, do some walking today after all that turkey. If you're here in Canada, we all need to do that. All right, we'll see you. Bye.